Hey everyone, this is Isaac
And this is Jackie
from Nonessential Media, and you are listening to the Beach City CROWS podcast. This podcast is all about our favorite cartoons, mine being Steven Universe.
and mine being Haikyuu.
Just a warning, this episode will feature spoilers for Steven Universe through Season 1.
And spoilers for Haikyuu through Season 1.
Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoy.
Hello everyone. Welcome to this special episode of Beach City CROWS. My name is Jackie and I've been watching Steven Universe.
My name is Isaac, and I have been watching Haikyuu.
And in this episode, we, who are very much in love with characters and think that characters drive stories, we thought we would take a moment to spend an episode in between seasons, as we have just finished Season 1 of both shows, to give our thoughts on the various characters that we've been introduced to. Do we start with Steven Universe?
Sure. We should start with Garnet.
Oh, I figured we'd start with I figured we'd start with
A main character?
Yeah, what's his name? Steven
Steven
Universe.
Oh yeah, the show's called Steven.
Yeah. Fucking like blowing my own eardrums out here. Anyways, should we start with Garnet? Who do you want to start with? You're the one who told me to watch the show. Who was your favorite character the first time you watched Season 1 of Steven Universe?
Garnet.
Garnet was?
Yeah.
And then who was your least favorite?
Probably
Ronaldo.
Ronaldo. That's a given, though. That doesn't count.
Okay, I'm not counting Ronaldo because Ronaldo's trash.
Probably Amethyst.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, not Greg.
I didn't really think anything. I didn't give him much.
Oh, it wasn't
attention.
until I came in and was like, God, Greg is so annoying, and you're like,
yeah,
you're right.
it made me realize. I'm like, yeah, when he faked that injury, that's pretty bad.
So I guess we'll start with Garnet then. So I'm kind of so here's my thing with overall Steven Universe characters is that right now they've spent a lot of time not necessarily diving super deep into them. So I still have a lot of questions around some characters, but I would agree that Garnet so far is the one that I like the most through Season 1. She's pretty badass. She's kind of the most level-headed, the most balanced. Like, if you took the good from Pearl and the good from Amethyst, which there's not a lot there, and created, like, I think a truly good parental figure for Steven Universe, that's Garnet.
And she has gauntlets, so
I mean, what more can you ask
Thanos.
for? And her voice actress, like,
amazing.
I mean, all the voices are amazing, but it's like her voice just takes Garnet to another level.
Yeah,
right
she's literally made for Garnet, or Garnet's made for her. Rebecca's like, this is your only purpose in life.
She did have that sweet rap battle, so she can rap. So that's,
yeah.
I mean, already plus 10.
Take the music out of it, and she's just rapping into the void.
And then Garnet also has, they haven't really gone into Garnet's backstory, but we do know now that she's a fusion, which I think adds another layer to her. Yeah, I would say Garnet so far is probably my favorite, but I wish there was more depth. I think depth-wise, Pearl or Amethyst, actually, they've gone more into. Mm-hmm. Pearl, I can tell, has even more to go into. Like, she clearly has been through some sort of trauma in her life, and I'm just waiting for that to be exposed, and hopefully she gets some healing, and she can be better because of the healing that she gets from her trauma.
Healing?
Yeah.
Healing tears?
Healing tears?
Healing
saliva? Speaking of healing saliva, I hate Steven.
We're talking about Garnet.
Well, you weren't we have more to say about Garnet?
Yeah, more or less, she's the only realistic parent for Steven.
Yeah, she's an actual good parent.
Yeah, and then you have Pearl, who tries to be, but just isn't.
More like a helicopter mom.
Yeah, and then you have Amethyst, who's just an amazing parental figure. But other than that,
Amethyst is this great parental figure at literally nothing. What is she good at being a parent for? Nothing. Amethyst is like, out of the 3 gems, is the one that I wish would just cease to exist the most.
Cease.
Especially after that episode where she, like, this shows you how evil she is. Like, she turned into Steven's mom to, like, fuck with Greg's head. And I think and then there was no consequences for it, which we talked about in an episode, I think last episode.
Amazing, phenomenal episode. One of the best.
Best writing ever to not have any resolution. So yeah, Amethyst is definitely not a character that I like so far.
She's good for Steven, and that's one of the only reasons I like her.
Yeah, she's like a sister for Steven. So I think that it helps, like, if Garnet and Pearl are the more serious ones, then Amethyst is the one that he can go build sandcastles with and have fun with and wrestle with.
One thing I do actually really like about her is she, out of any of the other gems, is most related to the Earth. Which
she came from the Earth.
Yeah, she's literally, like, incubated in the Earth. I mean, the others have been there for a while, but it's like, were you born in the Earth? Can you say you were born in the Earth? No.
Yeah, so it's really her home planet. So she has the most at stake if something were to happen to Earth compared to Pearl and Garnet, who maybe they've found a home there, but it's not their home planet. So
maybe the reason why she's so effed up and turned into Rose is because she was made on Earth. And humans can be that way too.
But why?
She's hung around too many humans.
She's hung around Steven too much and Greg.
That's why there's no resolution, because
they're just used to it. They're like, yeah, she's a bitch.
And we are too.
It's fine. Greg is kind of a petty little scum, though. He, like, messed with his son's head after he, like, broke his ankle, and Steven was like, yo, Dad, I'll fix it. He goes, cool, son. And then Steven fixed his broken leg, and then he continued to act like it was still broken, which totally put doubt in Steven's mind. So he's a child. Like, it's so frustrating to me because when I see an adult character, I want an adult. I don't want an older, fatter, balder Steven. I don't want that. I already have to deal with one Steven. I don't want to have to deal with two Stevens.
He's almost like an antagonist in that episode. Like, you're literally...
He is. He's the bad guy.
You're causing trauma for this kid that doesn't need it. Out of anyone, he just does not need it.
He already has mommy issues.
Yeah, he's supposed to save the universe at the end of the day.
He's not going to save anything if he doesn't think he can. So...
If he doesn't have a fake-ass dad to cause problems.
Who lives in his van down at the beach or wherever it is that he lives. I don't even know.
That's a weird complex they got going on. Like, why can't he live with them?
I don't know. And
what is the issue?
Is that ever explained?
I mean, probably, but not like a whole episode dedicated to it. No.
That's so weird because to me that's something that really is, in my mind, would be really important to these characters. I mean, he's separated from his dad. Like, he doesn't live with and he's, like, totally whatever, and his dad, except for that one episode, doesn't seem to really, like, make a big deal about it ever, and I don't know. Yeah, that's something that I would like to have them dive into character-wise with Steven and Greg a little bit, is more about their dynamic, which their dynamic isn't really father-son. It's more like big brother, little brother.
Yeah, it's kind of trash.
Yeah, Greg's not a good dad. Greg is not a good role model dad. No, we talked about this before. There's no good parents in Steven Universe.
It's very concerning.
It is. There's no one except for Garnet.
Yeah, Garnet. Well, full circle. Garnet.
Perfect.
Garnet first of all, she has future vision. So,
that's right.
Out of anyone else, she is the most prepared already. The most stable, you already said that. If the show was just Garnet raising Steven, amazing.
It would be way better.
Well, honestly. And, like, maybe add in Pearl or, every once in a while, but, like...
See, I hated Pearl at first, like, I'm sure if you go back and listen to, like, the first couple episodes, I'm like, Pearl, I don't understand why everyone likes her. I still don't understand why everyone likes her, but I don't necessarily dislike her anymore. And like I said, I think the more, like, if they actually maybe dive into her a little bit more, maybe my respect for her will go up even more. And I said more a lot, but I can't think of any other word to use. Connie, though. Connie was good. I liked Connie as a character.
Connie, good.
Yeah, the only thing I didn't like, writing-wise, was how, like, we're introduced to Connie, and, like, 3 minutes later, we suddenly, like, she, like, word vomits all of her problems on Steven. I don't have any friends, my mom is super demanding, my dad moves around a lot, and it's like, calm down, okay? You had, if you wouldn't spend so many episodes doing nothing.
But... Oh, you're talking about, like, the pacing of it all.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with us learning about Connie. I want that. I think they don't do enough exploring these characters.
They really don't.
I mean, in this first season, maybe that changes later. I don't know. But in this first season, there's, if they would have just, like, Connie shows up and then she word vomits all of her problems, then we don't see her for, like, 12 episodes. It's like, the fuck? Just have like 3 episodes in a row with, they're only 11 minutes long. Just have 3 episodes in a row with Connie in it. And then you have a whole half hour where you can hash out all of the Connie issues instead of have her just word vomit it. And I'm like, calm down. Just because you've never met someone in your life and have never been friends with anyone and you're stuck in a bubble with them doesn't mean you need to word vomit your whole life.
Or have an episode with Connie and Steven and it not being them stuck in a snowstorm for the whole episode.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That episode was a real doozy to watch.
There's a couple of real doozies in here. The one with Sadie and Lars. Two other characters that Sadie was like, she's just so desperate for Lars that she literally like trapped them on a foreign island where they almost died.
That's like predatory.
It's super creepy. Like, something's wrong with Sadie. She obviously needs to go home and hug her mom.
Yeah.
And have her mom make her more lunches. And maybe just, like, calm down about Lars for, like, 5 seconds.
I don't know if Sadie has a dad.
Well, she wants Lars to be her daddy.
You're the dad king. Oh.
How old are they? Am I allowed to make that joke? I don't know. I don't know how old anyone is in this show. Steven's, like, apparently trapped in it. He's, like, 14, but he's, like, in a 10-year-old's body, and...
Benjamin Button looking.
Yeah, he literally looks like a button, like a little round button. My issue with Steven, as, you know, he's the main character, and I just don't like dumb characters, and Steven is, like, obnoxiously stupid.
He's dummy thick,
He is dummy thick. He's an absolute unit.
That's one thing about this show. All the characters except Pearl, dumb thick.
Garnet, though?
Her
thighs are as big around as... One thigh is bigger around than Pearl.
Condense Pearl into a ball. Still, the circumference of that ball
would not be
the circumference of one thigh. One Garnet thigh.
One Garnet thigh? Can we make it like a Steven Universe themed food truck and you can order Garnet thighs and it's just like a big freaking like turkey leg or something?
Just a whole ham. Just boom.
I think that overall, just character-wise, my biggest issue is that they spend so much time doing nothing and not enough time, like, truly, like, diving into what these characters are about yet, which is kind of upsetting because everyone talks about how much later on they really dive into stuff. Because now it's just kind of surface level, and I don't know how much they dive into with Steven, but it is kind of upsetting that the main character so far is just kind of an idiot, and that's all I really have to say about him, you know, and that's sad that that's all that there is to say. He has mommy issues. Which they don't really dive into the mommy issues either. They just, like, kind of are like, yeah, his mom's dead. And he's like, my mom's dead. I've never met her. I'm like, she, like, lives in my belly button now. And it's,
oh my God.
Like, how do you sleep at night knowing that? It's a little weird. Amethyst, though, your least favorite character, is...
Amazing.
She is, like, as stupid as Steven is, she's, like, the obnoxious brat version of that.
Which is, like... 10 times
It's even worse. Yeah, I'd rather have, like, a well-meaning dumb character like Steven.
Like, he knows he's dumb.
Yeah, he's like, I'm stupid, but you guys can help me. That's cool. Like, you're a child. I don't expect you to be worldly. And then Amethyst is, like, the jerk version of that. Like, she's a bitch.
I hate this rock gem. What a bitch.
What a bitch. This gem this inanimate object is a bitch.
And I hope any Steven Universe fans listening out there aren't mad. I mean, you can be mad. I'm not saying to, like, you need to feel this emotion, but, like, just know that we're coming from a place of, it's literally just our opinion on it, you know?
Yeah, it's all subjective, and I've only seen the first season, so, which, not a lot happened in the first season, you know, so it's, character-wise anyway, it's not a whole bunch has happened, and I know I've heard people talk about how much they dive into characters in later seasons, so, what I'm saying now about these characters isn't necessarily going to be the case in 50 more episodes. You know, it could be totally different.
Okay, so I feel like Rose has had more character development than Steven.
Yeah, that's kind of true.
And she's been in it, like, once, twice?
Like, once or twice. Yeah, Rose is kind of interesting because she's a character that's not there, like, literally. She's in the narrative and she's, like, constantly present in a way, but she's not, like, her physical form isn't there, I guess. But they have definitely kind of slowly started to peel back layers for Rose.
She's just a ghost that hangs around. He's like, Pearl, shut the fuck up. It's not that serious.
Pearl does take everything really serious. That's like the majority of her characters. Oh, like, she's kind of like, I don't know, neurotic? I don't know how to put it. She's, like, super uptight, intense, and like anxiety ridden about everything. Which I guess I imagine if you're one of those people is super appealing to you. Like if that's how you are, like it's easier to like latch onto that kind of a character.
One thing about Pearl is she's just a bird.
She does look like a bird.
She's literally a bird. Burb. They call her Burb in the fandom. But anyways, the thing about Pearl is, I mean, yeah, she's a bird, but I can see why she's so neurotic in ways, because she was meant to be a follower, like a court jester, if you will, for a diamond, I guess you can say. Or
well, see, and that's stuff that they haven't told me. Like, they haven't said anything, like...
No,
like,
we need to cut this out, because that's spoiling.
No, if you spoil it to me, you're going to spoil it to everyone else. It's fine. I literally, but I think that goes to show you that we're full 52 episodes into the show, and they haven't told us the basics of these characters.
Yeah.
So I think, and it's going to change as it goes on, but my biggest complaint for the first season has always been they spend so much time doing nothing when they could have spent all that time, even if it was just a little bit, just slowly here and there peeling back certain layers, if they wouldn't have wasted time on, episodes that were essentially irrelevant. I don't care about Mayor Dewey. I guess he's important later on. Dewey. I get that he's going to be, more important later on as the show goes on, because, that's how it works. Characters become more involved in plot and stuff, but right now I want to... Ronaldo is another character that... Why does he even exist? Like, he's just cringy. He's just... Every time there's a Ronaldo episode, I kind of want to just turn the TV off.
You're like, why am I doing this podcast?
Ronaldo episodes do make me wonder that, but it's okay. I get through them, so... There's always something better on the other side of a Ronaldo episode. That's the positive of it,
I'm gonna ask you a question.
Okay.
Okay, so favorite filler episode, if any.
Watermelon Steven.
That is an awesome one. Second that.
Yep. Either that one or the one with Onion when he gets the little Those are my two favorites. Those are my two favorite episodes.
Anytime Onion's in it.
Yeah, I love Onion. Onion's the best character. Okay, let's talk about... let's talk about the depth of Onion.
No, I can't go into that. Anyways,
And Onion's dad, the Gordon Fish Sticks guy.
It's the Gordon Fish. Second favorite, you can't lie on this one. Ready for it?
Mm-hmm.
Beat Meat Mania.
Okay, so Beat Meat Mania wins just because of the name, and because Garnet was busy playing essentially Dance Dance Revolution, but with a more risque sounding name for the entire episode, and then when she got serious, that was kind of the end of it. Like, she sort of just took care of everything. But
one thing about Garnet, when she gets serious, she's
powerful.
She can snap one way or the other. You don't know, like...
Still, my favorite scene with Garnet was when they handed her the phone.
Oh, yeah.
When Connie's mom was calling, and she's like, this is Mom Universe. I knew right away. I was like, this is going to be the best 30 seconds of this episode. And like you said when we were recording that podcast for that episode, that's a side of Garnet you don't really get to see very much of. So it's kind of refreshing to see that side of her.
Yeah. And after finding out that she's, two gems in one,
mm-hmm.
you kind of see, if you go back and watch episodes or like remember what you've watched, you can kind of see both of their personalities in her.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you understand, like, okay, so this extreme and this extreme come together, and they actually do make what Garnet's personality
mm-hmm.
is, which I think is really cool. I think that's a good thing that they do.
Yes.
In the show.
Yeah.
Fusions.
Yeah, fusions are lit. Fusions are the best part of the show.
Honestly. Another character. The goat. Was it Steven Jr.?
What do you... The first time ever watching the show during this first season that I was like made a reaction to something was when Steven Jr. I thought was gonna die. He just gets like picked up. He's just chilling there and like meh, and he's gone. Oh,
he's just the most wholesome animal in that show.
Yeah. I want like a plush of him. Do they sell those?
I mean, maybe. I've never seen any. Maybe like a fan art. I don't know.
Other character I want a plush of? Lion. Lion's been interesting because when Lion first entered the show, there was kind of a little bit of a mystery around like, what is the purpose of this? Is it just like the sidekick? Is this the Snoopy of the show? And then now we've definitely established that there's a lot more to Lion than just being Steven's mascot.
Yeah, he's not Goofy's Pluto, you know?
Not at all. Not even remotely.
He's not a dog's dog.
A dog's dog.
Anyways.
Yeah. I don't know what to say about the characters in the Steven universe. That's the hard thing. You know, like, I don't know what there is to, like, dive into. In the first season, anyways. I don't know what there is to dive into and, like, kind of go... You're the expert on Steven universe, so... What would you dive into for the first season of Steven universe, character-wise?
Lapis, I feel like, was really good for the crystal gems. Because they're like, oh crap, Steven's starting to think for himself when it comes to, like, you know, because at this point he thinks that the gems are all, they're just like pure. There's nothing, they're flawless. Which is obviously not the case because they locked her in that, or not them specifically, but their people, their side of the war, locked her in that mirror. And I think that's good for Steven's character development because he's finally seeing that nothing is ever as it seems. Nothing's perfect.
I agree with that. But I think it's interesting that they don't run with that in a different episode, which was the episode where he had to go through the test. And it turns out that they had done this test and it was rigged that no matter what he would win. And that could have been a moment where he could have went to them and, like, challenged them, been like, okay, you guys have kept this from me and now you're preventing me from growing. Like, what are you protecting me from? But instead he just said, thanks for your time. So I think that it's interesting because you'll see these flashes and moments where you can see where someone would take, this is where I would take the character. It's not necessarily where they're going to take the character, which is fine. I would use episodes like that as a catalyst for the next development in his relationship with the crystal gems and his relationship within himself and how he grows, because he's still a child, more or less. How he grows, you know, as a person and as a gem and, you know, as someone who's here to save the universe. But instead it was just, I mean, I could have just not watched the episode and had the same, I would have walked away with the same knowledge of Steven. Actually, with maybe a little more respect, because that episode made me lose respect for Steven as a character because it was pointless. Like, he didn't learn anything from it except that I guess that the crystal gems really care for him and want him, they care for him, but not really, because if you cared for him, you would want him to grow, and instead they're giving him a participation trophy.
Yeah.
So
especially coming from Garnet.
Yeah, that's the surprising part. I can see Pearl doing that.
You can see Amethyst doing it because she's immature. Yeah,
exactly. But for Garnet to fall to that is really kind of just... It doesn't make sense in her character. And it sucks that when you have previous episodes like, the situation with Lapis, that could have been his moment to be like, what are you keeping from me? What do I not know? But instead, it really... He, like, hasn't... Maybe he never will assert himself. But that's just not really, in my mind, a good role model for a kid to just... You're just going to deal with whatever these people say because they're the authority figures. You're just going to accept it, and you're going to thank them when they do something for you, even if it doesn't actually help you.
Well, good news for you. I think it's in season 2. I think it's when it starts. He does start to assert himself.
Good.
And, yeah. That's actually a moment, even I remember watching it, and I was like, oh, this show is taking a different turn. Is when he starts to assert himself and realize different things.
That's good.
What are your thoughts on Peridot so far?
Peridot's been in it so little, I don't really have an opinion on Peridot right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I've seen Peridot in total, like, 10 minutes. I know Peridot becomes a huge piece in the story because so many people in the fandom like her. So you don't just like a character.
She's one of my favorites.
See, so what was your first impression then of Peridot when in that first season? What did you think? What originally drew you to Peridot as a character, and what kept you attached to Peridot?
I like that she was involved with technology because before her, I mean, we've seen Pearl maybe toy around with technology, but that's it. So I'm like, oh, there's other... Like, this... Peridot's introduction helps you realize that there's more to gems beings. Like, there's more to their purpose than the previous gems we've seen. So I thought that was really cool. Also, from an artistic standpoint, I think her character design is one of the most memorable.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Same with Garnet. Like, they just have these shapes you can remember, and I love green color palettes. So
you're like, shapes and color, yes.
I'm like, oh my god.
That's perfect, though, because that's your artistic mind right there. Like, that's what, you're going to look at these characters from that artistic perspective, which is cool.
And then she started walking up the wall, and I was like, oh my god, sold.
She can walk up walls. What more could you ask for from a gem?
Also, it's the first threat, I guess you can say, because it's the first infiltration of a gem that's not corrupted.
You're right. Yeah.
And it's very interesting to watch because that's like what she was introduced in episode like 30 something. I don't know.
I couldn't
really
remember.
Far in.
Yeah.
Amidst all of the filler. Another character we haven't talked about yet, Jasper.
Jasper, who's now one with Lapis at the bottom of the sea. Jasper to me is a throwback to the Saturday morning cartoon villain. That was my first impression, and that's an impression that has stuck with me. The bidding of the Empire at all costs, the bidding of my lord at all costs, kind of a thing. And yeah, that was. I can't say that I had much else of an impression, and now I'm sure the next time I see Jasper will still be fused with Lapis at the bottom of the sea, is what I'm assuming. Yeah, such a short time to be with the character is kind of hard to have much of an opinion.
She's very your generic, like you said, Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah, very villainy. Like you just
yeah.
know, like this is going to be that person that's going to do this evil thing and be like, well, it's just what I do, you know.
I think the first shot they showed of her was her eye, and it was very sharp, and you already get that feeling like, oh, this is bad.
I don't even remember that.
Big girl bad.
Big girl bad.
Yeah, so I think that concludes most, if not all, characters that matter in the show so far for Steven Universe.
Onion's the best.
Onion Trade was a good episode.
Great episode.
So now going on to Haikyuu.
Haikyuu.
Which is drastically different when it comes to characters.
Yeah.
So...
Do you want to just do this in order? Do you want to talk like Karasuno first, and then we can jump into other characters? We can literally just start with... We can go 1 through 12 on Karasuno,
yes.
and then... Okay, let's do that.
No, let's do Karasuno as a whole, and then...
And then 1 through 12?
Yeah.
Okay, alright. So what's your thoughts on Karasuno, buddy?
They have their problems, but one of the most solid teams, but they are very sporadic, which is crazy to me how they can be so solid of a team, how they can be so close-knit, but their playstyle is just all over the place.
It's chaotic.
Chaotic energy times 100.
Yeah, Karasuno is very much like a brotherhood in a way. They're very close to each
They're
other.
like a frat.
Yeah, they are. They really are. Yeah, they probably have lit parties. That's...
You mentioned there's a party team in future episodes?
Yeah, the party team. Yeah, you'll see them. You'll know as soon as you see their guy from the party. You're going to know. That's in season 2. You will know the party team.
Anyways, yeah, Karasuno, amazing. Also, if you can't root for Karasuno, if someone asks you who your favorite team in Haikyuu is and you don't say Karasuno, I don't know what show you're watching because it's not Haikyuu.
Yeah, how can you not love Karasuno? It's so... They make them such a... They're such a wholesome team, and I think we talked about this in another episode where the one thing I love about Haikyuu is they give you the first impression, they give you the impression of the people around them, and then they start revealing the true colors. And I love that everyone sees Karasuno as delinquents. Like, they're like, Asahi sells drugs, and Tanaka obviously beats people up, and like all this stuff. And then, but the truth is that Karasuno is just, they're all such like swell guys. Like, I don't know how else to put that. They're all just like good
wholesome
guys. Yeah, they are.
And you know what's so cool about the character development in this show, specifically like Karasuno's whole team? The third years are very much that wholesome type characters.
Yeah.
And they are essentially the backbone to Karasuno, so Karasuno is going to feel wholesome.
Yeah, exactly. And we talked about this before, like, the friendship between those three mirrors the friendship that you see throughout all of Karasuno, and they are the foundation for Karasuno.
Don't forget Kyoko.
And Kyoko. Yeah, Kyoko is actually a really big... It's kind of funny, because Kyoko starts off in the beginning as sort of just this figure in the background, but...
Shy.
Yeah, but as the show goes on, you start to realize that she is actually a very valuable member of Karasuno, and she does a lot for them. And does a lot for their morale and stuff, so... Kyoko is the unsung hero of Karasuno.
the unsung crow.
The unsung crow of the crows. Absolutely.
So, I guess now diving into individual characters on the team, who is number one again?
Daichi.
Daichi. That's right. Daichi.
Daichi.
Daichi. Garnet's Daichi.
Garnet's Daichi. Who has the best thighs? Garnet?
No, my God, we should do a poll.
Polling. We're doing a poll, guys. Garnet or Daichi?
Oh my God.
Who has the best thighs?
Any other conclusion than 50-50. Like,
Garnet clearly has the best thighs of the crystal gems.
oh my God, I can't.
Daichi obviously has, it's in his name, has the best thighs for Karasuno. His thighs aren't as good as, Ushijima's,
Okay,
but
so now moving on to number 2. I'm just
Daichi's super underrated, though, by the fandom.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's not enough love for Daichi.
That's really depressing to hear.
Yeah, it is.
Because he's such a good character.
Daichi is
probably one of the best.
I think what's interesting about, I agree. And I think one thing that's interesting about Daichi is he's painted as, they always think, oh, Daichi's so mean. That's something that they always say.
No.
But he's obviously, just a really good captain. He's a very strong captain, and he knows when to be stern, and he knows when to kind of put his foot down. But I don't know if... I don't think he would ever allow anything to happen to his team. He would go to war for them, for sure.
And I think if you don't know anything about sports or never watched it or never been on a sports team, you would take his, I guess, seriousness or, sternness as him being a bad guy.
Yeah.
But even then, it's you can see he's trying to better his team.
Yep, absolutely.
And that's what a good captain does. Which is what Daichi is.
Yeah, I don't know what else. Right now, Daichi hasn't had his full. He hasn't had his full moment in the sun yet. He's getting there. He has had the episode with Tokonami, right? Mm-hmm. Is that the name of the team?
Yeah, his friend on there.
Yeah, and his relationship with the captain of the
Yui.
With her. Yeah, his relationship with her is. It shows you. I think it kind of shows you how his influence is more than just Karasuno. This is a guy who's a natural leader, and he's going to be a leader his whole life, whether that's on the court or off the court.
It exudes, whether he's trying to or not.
No, he's just a natural influencer, and he's always using it for good. So I think that's really a cool part of Daichi's character. But we'll talk more about him when we get to his moments in season 2 and season 3, and you get to kind of appreciate what he really brings as a volleyball player and as a captain to Karasuno, for sure.
Number 2.
Sugawara.
Dang it, I'm just kidding. Suga, haven't seen much of him like Daichi, but just like Daichi in the same way. When you do see him, just another wholesome character. All of the third years.
He has very positive influence, and I've talked about this before with you at length, that one of the things that's interesting to me about Sugawara is that he is willing to give his advice and his knowledge and his wisdom to Kageyama, knowing full well that Kageyama is taking his place and that is limiting his time on the volleyball court. And he gives it up because he's a selfless guy, and he cares about his team, and he wants the team to win the same way Daichi cares about the team. But the way Sugawara brings his caring to the forefront is the only way he really can is through his wisdom and being there. And in the beginning, when he goes out of his way, he takes time during his lunch breaks and stuff, and to help Hina to learn how to receive. Hinata can do basic receives at the beginning because Sugawara teaches him, and I think that's kind of glossed over a little bit. So I like Sugawara a lot. Yeah, his moment. He hasn't had his moment. Really, kind of had his moment during the match against Aoba Josei.
One thing that was very telling of his character, he's not very good, and he knows that, and so do the teachers.
Oh yeah, at the end they're like, you're never going to be an athlete. You suck at volleyball.
Die.
Just cease playing volleyball. Never again.
But in knowing that, he's still, like you said, the most selfless guy, and he's willing to do anything to help Karasuno. Mm-hmm. Even if that means he's not going to get into a good school, or maybe not even going to find a good job.
It's kind of short-sighted, actually. I think it shows you that his character is very very short-sighted.
Yeah.
Because he should
that is his flaw, but it's also his. I don't.
He's obviously someone that you would definitely want as a friend. You'd want him on your side, but he needs someone like Daichi could have very easily been dude, I want you on the team, but but. I think that also goes to show you the friendship that they have, that they understand each other enough that they're... And I don't think Daichi would want anyone other than Sugawara to be his vice captain.
Yeah.
So, which leads to...
Number 3, Asahi.
I did not appreciate Asahi enough until you were like, Asahi is so good, Asahi this, and I was like, oh my god.
Now I understand why you didn't appreciate him, because he really only had one moment, and then after that, it was like he was there, but...
Yeah, his arc is already
really
over. Like, he had his
moment.
Yeah, his moment was that beginning part where they bring him in and they do such a good job with, he's so, like, there's the whole, again, back to the way they set characters up. He's so strong and fearsome and he's scary. And they introduce him and he's this shy, anxiety-ridden little guy. He's not little, he's big. But I mean, like, he's just... The way he acts is he wouldn't exactly control a room. Like, Sugawara is way shorter than him and way less powerful, but he walks into a room and people listen.
Yeah.
Asahi walks into a room and he disappears into the shadows. But yeah, as soon as they got through, they got him to learn to call for the ball again. That was kind of it. And then he had the other moment with Date Tech.
The iron wall.
Getting through the iron wall. And now he still has, like, moments of badass, but, like, development-wise...
He's kind of done.
Yeah, they were like, that's it. We developed Asahi. No more development for him. And
I don't think you could really go into anymore with his kind of character.
Yeah, he's more meant to be a cornerstone. Like, if Daichi's the foundation, then, Asahi's a cornerstone of that foundation, for sure. And for Karasuno's strength. Yeah,
that's one thing I will say, bring it back to the whole team. Every character is, like you said, a cornerstone. Mm-hmm. They're all very solid in their ground, and they know their positions and how to play around each other and with each other.
They got good chemistry, for sure. Number 4, Nishinoya.
One of my favorites. Asahi is still one of my favorites, but Nishinoya is up there for me right now.
Why?
He is not the only character, but most of the time you see him, he is blowing people away. Sounds kind of bad, but...
Yeah.
I don't know, he's just like...
He's so cool.
Well, in the beginning, you're like, why does everyone think he's so cool? Like, this guy is dumb.
You're like, he's a short bastard with dumb dyed hair.
Short bastard.
Had to get banned from club activities and everything.
Hitting a teacher.
Because he, hit the vice principal who's always in the way of Karasuno, the true antagonist. The vice principal in his wig.
He knows how to receive balls. That's it. Okay, number 5. He's the best Libro.
The fact that you had to pause because you could tell.
I didn't know until it was going out.
You're receive and you're like, oh no, but I have to keep going balls. Oh my god. Anyways, one thing I like about Nishinoya is that he doesn't really have any development either, and I think that's kind of the interesting thing with him. Like, his big moment of weakness, just like Sugawara's and Asahi's, was the game against Date Tech before Hinata and them come into the picture. But he immediately bounces back and is like, how do I get better? And he's working at getting better, and I think that's a good thing to have in a character that, if you're a young person watching, or even an older person, you can be like, okay, if Nishinoya can get through this moment, I can get through this moment today, and just keep pushing and find a way to get better. And, I mean, he has so many cool moments. Like, it just seems like every game he has some sort of cool receive, and you're like,
that's
what
I was trying to get at.
And he always says cool stuff like, I got your backs. And it's like, man, I want him as like a little brother yelling that at me.
He's like the biggest hype man for them, too.
He is literally their hype man. Yep.
Which is what they need.
Yep.
One thing about him too is his mental fortitude is like, just like Tanaka's is 5 out of 5, his is probably like 4.5 out of 5. I feel like
it matches with their numbers.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah,
his number's 4.5. Like, you don't deserve a full number.
You're not a full man, you don't get a full number. Ooh. Yeah, Nishinoya, his mental fortitude is definitely up there, which is why he can bounce back from the Date Tech match faster than Sugawara. Well, Sugawara didn't really have issues with it either. It was really just Asahi.
Yeah, it was just him trying to stop being emo.
Asahi took all the blame. Well, and we talked about this before with that moment, how Sugawara, Asahi, and Nishinoya, all three of them shared the blame. Like, they owned it. Like, Sugawara's like, no, it was my sets. Asahi's like, no, it was that I couldn't get through the wall. And Nishinoya's like, no, it's because I couldn't receive the block balls. And it's like, that to me shows you how good of a team Karasuno is going to be. The fact that these 3 different guys, 3 different personality types, all of them pretty much were willing to take their share of the blame, and instead of passing it on to the other person. So
yeah,
I think that shows you a lot about those 3 guys and their integrity, which is huge.
Number 5, Tanaka.
And his broship with Nishinoya, I love it.
I didn't notice it until like way later on after the Daytech game, and it was just like in your face. But I like it. Tanaka's another hype man.
Yeah, he is.
And with Nishinoya, they're like, I feel like when they get together in any game they're playing, it's like Karasuno will win. But yeah, Tanaka's just like...
Well, so interesting thing about Tanaka, when the show first started, you really liked Tanaka, and then we got about halfway in, and you're like, okay, he's kind of annoying now. Yeah. So I'm curious about your journey through that. Like, now I tolerate him. You tolerate him. Like, you understand him maybe a little more?
Understand, yeah, that's a good word. Okay, so I latched on him because he's the funny character. I couldn't really get into the other characters. It's probably because I just wasn't paying that much attention. After a while, he just got kind of annoying as I started latching on to other characters. And then after a lot changed after the Daytech game. After the Fire Nation attack.
Yeah, that's what I just said. That.
Yeah, Tanaka, I tolerate him. I understand him. That's all I'll say on that.
Fair enough. So then that leaves... Oh, okay, so you really don't know the next 3 characters very well. It's going to be the benchwarmers. So starting with Inoshida. No. Do you have any thoughts on Inoshida? I know you don't on the other 2.
The one moment I really liked was with Kageyama and Inoshida. He's just another good person. He's like, if you could take Daichi and Sugawara and put them in one, like if they were to fuse, it would probably Inoshida from what I've seen so far.
Absolutely. You're 100% correct. like you literally just summed up Inoshida's character in a nutshell right there. That's it.
Like, if he is the second year's version of Daichi.
Yes, he is. He literally is. You're not wrong. You haven't really seen him play yet, aside from, I guess he was in the game against the practice game against Ayaba Josai. But you really him and you don't even know their names, so we're just gonna call them 7 and 8. Like, I don't think you're even. There's no way you're gonna have an opinion on them yet.
Yeah, I know there's a blonde one and another maybe
and a bald guy.
Bald, yeah.
Okay, so we'll skip them. Number 9, Kageyama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a very interesting character. One of the most, if not the most interesting character. I didn't like him at first just because he was very standoffish, very selfish, king of the court, you know. Mm-hmm. But after the game with Ayaba Josai, you realize he's not meant to be this selfish guy, you know. There's more to him. Mm-hmm. And I think we're going to see that later on. I want to say this. So
say whatever you want.
So me and Jackie watched ahead like 2 episodes in season 2.
Yes.
Just so I could kind of get a feel for it. Already super amazing. Way better than the first season. Not that the first season's bad.
No, it's definitely a quality jump for sure.
Yeah. One thing I will say about Kageyama in there so far, I like him a lot more. Like, he's one of my favorites right now.
I think that at this point, and like bringing back to the layers thing, Kageyama to me is interesting because when he's first introduced, he's introduced as the villain. Yeah. And he's on the other side of the net, and he's a jerk, and you just don't like him. You don't like how good he is. You don't like how cool he is. You don't like how he's pushing people around. You don't like how he's
beating up Hinata.
Yeah, he's being so mean to Hinata. And then the next time you see him is at Karasuno, and him and Hinata are pretty much enemies still, and they have to learn to become friends. And then slowly, as you see more and more of Kageyama, you learn more about, like, he went through this trauma in middle school where his team abandoned him. You have to think about how this guy has never had a friend, probably ever in his whole life. So take that into consideration, like how socially inept he must be, how socially ignorant from not having those true social interactions. And so you're seeing him develop friendships for the first time, and what better place than Karasuno, honestly.
Yeah.
And then they keep digging into him a little bit more, and you find out that he's really not this cool, collected kid that they tried to make you believe in the first couple episodes. He's definitely kind of a dork. And you see more and more of that in the second season. In the second season, by the end of the second season, you're going to be like, yeah, Kageyama's a dork. Like, 10 out of 10. Dork. There's no other word to describe him.
He's almost a broken character. I get that vibe from him.
Well, I mean, yeah, he didn't have any friends, and then his senpai in middle school was Oikawa, who was just a brat and a half to him. I mean...
And the sad thing is Kageyama just, like, took it because he thought that's normal. That's what friends are. That's what friends do.
Yeah, Kageyama didn't even really seem... In the flashbacks, he's just kind of like, okay. Like, after Oikawa almost hits him and Iwaizumi's like, you need to leave. He's like, okay. It's like, bro, you almost got, like, punched in the face. Are you not aware of that?
Waizumi's just like, you can go now.
Yeah, Kageyama. I think Kageyama's character just gets better and better the more they pull back, and I think you're gonna. I think you're gonna leave. I think by the end of the second season, you're even better. By the end of the third season, you're gonna see like the full potential of Kageyama as a character for sure.
Can't wait.
Number 10.
Hinata. Flame, hair, dork, doozy of a midget.
Is he really your favorite character?
Yeah.
Tell me why. What was the first thing that got you interested in Hinata?
He is the greatest decoy. He doesn't really have a position, but he does. And he finds it. And when he finds it, there's no stopping him.
Yeah.
Except for Oikawa, but except for setter dunks, but yeah, he's out of all of them, he has the most drive. And the way he can go from one end to the court to the other is like, whoa, like you don't see that on any team. I mean, you see their hands move as fast as he can run, but that's it. You don't see any other like fast characters or any that kind of match him, which I think is really cool. He brings something that CROWS needs, and he's just the greatest decoy. Like, he doesn't always have to hit the ball, you know? And I think that's perfect because they think the midget's going to hit the ball, but then he comes up behind them, and yeah.
So you think that he complements Karasuno?
He does. Yeah. I like how he complements all the characters. Through him, I was able to see all of the amazing parts in every character on Karasuno.
I think that's fair, and I think that, and part of that too is Hinata, he is such a good guy. Like, he's so, I don't know, he's so wholesome. Like, we talked about Karasuno being wholesome. Hinata is the pinnacle of that wholesomeness. He thinks everyone is so cool. Even Kageyama, he's like, you are king of the court, that's so cool. Tsukishima, who's kind of a jerk at the beginning, he's like, you're so tall, that's so cool. You know, like, he sees, and then Nishinoya is shorter than him, he's like, oh my god, you're shorter than me, you're so cool. Like, nothing is not cool to him, and he becomes friends with everybody. Like, everyone is kind of attracted to him in a way, and it's because he's such a positive, outgoing, great person.
He is the sun.
Literally, yeah, he is the sun.
That's another reason why he's my favorite, is the imagery. I feel like was so intense for Hinata and Tsukishima specifically in that moment. I forget what game it was.
Where they were talking about how if Hinata's the sun, then Tsukishima's the moon.
Yeah, and Suki like turns around and is like... Hinata is literally lit all the time.
He's never not full of energy and bouncing off the walls, for sure. Which leads us to the moon, number 11. Tsukishima. Okay, I'm just going to say this on the podcast. I've watched this show with a lot of people. Not a lot, but like 5 or 6 people. And every single one of them, their first impression of Tsukishima is, fuck this guy. So it's really weird to me that there's some people in the fandom that like latched onto him day one. They're like, I love his sassy ass. True. I love his sassy ass.
People that say that are just saying that because no one else is hopping on the train.
I guess. I don't know. There's some people, though, that claim they liked Tsukishima from day one. I thought he was an asshole. I thought that there was no way I'm ever going to like this guy. And I can tell you, I'm going to be honest, by the end of the first season, I still didn't really like him. He hadn't had his moment yet with me. I think that...
Did you tolerate him at least?
Absolutely. I think I came to respect him as a volleyball player. This is a guy who doesn't even try. And he's so good. Like, he's like, this is just a stupid club. And then he's better than everyone else. Yeah. Like, what the hell, man? Imagine how good he's going to be when he tries.
One thing I think that not only is he sassy and just mean in general, like, he just jabs at people from the very beginning. It's like, Hinata and Kageyama were already having their moments. Like, they had to work that out, you know? Mm-hmm. And then they have Tsukishima on top of it. It's just like, give them, like, cut them some slack. Just, like, stop. Maybe, like, walk away. You don't have to say anything, you know? And then he just has that follower, Tadashi.
Tadashi and his big moment in the Ioba Josai game.
Oh, my God.
Was that tough to watch or what?
Oh, my God. Thinking about it.
You kind of feel a little sick thinking about it. I get it.
It's like Office-level cringe.
No joke. Oh, that is...
The show Office.
Yep.
The cringe culture.
That's it right there. What do you think about Tadashi, though, going in where we're at now in the show? What are your thoughts on him?
I respect him.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I respect him, actually, right now, more than any other player.
Because he's done what he had to get on the court?
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, anyone that can walk away instead of cry on the court from traumatic moment like that.
You know what's gonna be bad as soon as he like drops the ball on his foot and it's like, all right, this is.
Oh my god.
No way, this is gonna go well.
They do such a good job at like. Oh my.
You're
god.
nervous before he even serves the ball, so then when he messes up the serve, you're like, fuck.
You're just like, is Karasuno gonna win?
That's everyone on Karasuno except for the coach and their faculty advisor, and we talked about Kyoko already.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on the coach and
Coach Yukai?
Yeah.
Again, one of my favorites. I don't have, except for Hinata, I don't have like, I wouldn't rank them because they're all good in their own ways.
Mm-hmm.
But Coach Yukai is an amazing coach. In the same way Daichi is an amazing captain, he's an amazing coach. Like, he's born to be a coach.
Yeah, same energy.
Maybe not the same thigh energy, but...
Does anyone have the same thigh energy as Daichi? No.
I mean, probably Nishinoya, but he's a midget, so it doesn't count.
One has turkey thighs, the other one has, like, chick thighs. Now I'm just really hungry.
Specs.
Yeah.
Specs. I don't really like him, I'm going to be honest.
Wow, that's savage.
One of my favorite quotes, though, was from him, but I still don't like him.
He's full of quotes. I think you'll learn to appreciate him. The more you watch and the more you realize how much he does for Karasuno.
He does do a lot.
You're gonna, like, they wouldn't get where they get without him. That was hard to say, but yeah.
I'm noticing that in the last episode when he's kind of like, you guys need to, like, pick yourselves up. Or when he's talking to the third years and he's like, maybe you guys should pursue occupations outside of volleyball.
And they're like, fuck you. We're gonna go play volleyball.
Kyoko's like, fight, kill yourself.
Okay, outside of Karasuno.
Nekoma.
What do you think of Nekoma?
Kuro, for me, he's just kind of there.
Thank you.
I'm like, Kuro's amazing. I love.
Kuro has more. He gets expanded on more in the second season.
From an artistic standpoint,
Roosterhead.
He has a really cool character design.
Yeah, he does.
Same with Kenma. I think that's why I liked, like in the very beginning of this podcast, it was really hard for me to like latch onto characters, and I latched onto Kenma solely because of his character design. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah.
But now I'm realizing that's one of the only reasons I like Nekoma, though. But Kenma, I like him just because he's very laid back. You don't see that in the show very often. He's like the only character so far that is truly laid back, and he's an observer setter, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then there's, I don't know the rest of their coach is like
an old man.
There, yeah. He's just, everyone's waiting for him to die, more or less. And then what else is there?
Date Tech?
Date Tech. I don't really know.
No real opinion on Date Tech.
Except for no brows.
Yeah, pointy guy.
You told me there's more to him. He's just a softie.
He's a softie, yeah. He's a
I
soft
can see
guy.
that.
Yeah.
Because they make you think. This is one thing the show's really good at. Their initial push of characters, like how you feel about them, and the total opposite of what they actually are.
Every time.
And that's probably what No Brows is.
I mean, there's a couple characters that are pretty upfront. As soon as you meet them, you kind of get what they're about. But
Kuro.
What was my first impression of Kuro? I don't even remember at this point.
He's just there, right?
I think I don't think I had a first impression of Kuro. I don't think I really thought much of Nekoma the first time I saw them. I don't know why, but it wasn't until the second season when you go to that training camp with them that it really kind of, and the more in like a whole half season really with this team, and it was like, oh, okay, and now I'm seeing it. I'm seeing why people like Nekoma. I'm getting more in depth with Nekoma. But I guess the only other really big team then is Aoba Josai.
Oikawa? I don't even like, it's not
your first impression, you messaged me in Discord, you're like, I hate Oikawa.
It's not like a hatred, it's just, but it's like so deep that I can't even let him be a character. Like every time he's on the screen, I'm just like, you're just a douche. Like, you're a good player, I guess. Like, I can't even give him that.
Why is there... do you know an Oikawa in real life or something? Is this like you are projecting onto this guy?
I mean, I'm sure in high school, but like... Oh, man, he's just so... Not... I have no words. He's just a douche. Especially to Kageyama in the worst way. Even when he's not talking to Kageyama, he just has this vibe about him. You know what I mean? Didn't you get that vibe when you first saw him?
When Oikawa was first introduced, is in the practice game against Iowa Josai, and the coach yells at him because he's been hurt. And, you know, he's actually mad at Oikawa. And so I kind of was a little annoyed right away for Oikawa because I was like, that's how you're going to treat your player. And then he comes in and the girls are screaming and I was like, yes, he's the evil pretty boy. Of course he is, because Hinata is such a normal, wholesome dude. The other side of the net has to be the opposite of a normal, wholesome dude, which is a douchey, pretty boy, jock, probably a playboy. Like, I get it. Like, you feel like you get him almost instantly. And the very first thing he does is he shows off his serve, and he serves it at Tsukishima. And he serves it at Tsukishima again, and then he stops the game, and he's like, just as I thought, you first years can't receive the ball. Why? And so for me, I took a step back, and I was like, is he taunting them, or is he teaching them?
Yeah, it was weird.
Which we'll have to talk about more in the second season.
Yeah.
Because I can't spoil anything, but that same energy is brought up later. And then the next time you see him, I mean, he's getting cookies from girls. So it's like, okay, again, it goes back to the same initial reaction of this guy is like, he couldn't even be there for his team, what the hell? But then he gets on the court, and then, I think I've said this before, I've compared Ioba Josai to a pack of dogs.
Yeah.
And that was the moment where it was like, I get it. Oikawa is the pack leader for this pack of dogs. Like, he is the alpha male.
Very alpha male.
Yeah, and I could go more in depth. I've gone in depth before about how interesting I think his struggle is, but that's more of a second season conversation as we get to the end of his arc. But
so you're saying he's always going to be a douche?
I'm saying that that they will continue to dive into Oikawa more than they have dove into any other quote unquote villain in the show.
I can't even understand him at this point, because even the like sensitive moments with him, I'm still like,
I think you've already made up your mind on him. I think you've already decided. Like, that first initial reaction, you were like, this guy is a bully, and he's a douche, and I don't like him.
I don't like bully characters.
But
I don't like bullies.
Is he a bully?
Stop bully.
Stop bullying. But is he a bully? Intentionally. Like, is he out there?
But that's the worst thing, is like, he's unintentional sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean, do you see him bully anyone? Besides, I mean, not counting his incident with Kageyama when he was being a brat.
He bullies the whole team. When he does those two serves and then he stops the game and he's like, basically, you guys suck. Why weren't you able to do that?
See, so that's how you interpreted that scene? You interpreted him stopping the game so he could pick on them? I interpreted it as he stopped the game so he could be like, this is the flaw that you guys need. This is a practice game, a friendly practice game. You guys need to work on this to be better. You guys will be a more complete team if you can receive the ball. Right now, you can't.
I guess I got that. I took it that way for Karasuno because the way he carries himself and speaks, it's very
arrogant,
pretentious.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know about this guy.
Interesting. What about the rest of Ioba Josai?
Owaizumi, my favorite on Seijo.
He's a wholesome guy.
I also like him because he Well, he always is like hurting Oikawa, and I'm like, yes, we need more of this.
That is true. If you go back and watch the Ioba Josai match and just watch the background, whenever Karasuno is talking, look in the background and you'll see Owaizumi like headbutting Oikawa and stuff like that. Yeah, and if you ever get a chance to watch the stage plays, same thing. Like, they're always fucking around with that guy. So
I will say they have a really cool friendship.
Yeah, they've definitely been friends for a long time. The broship is real between those two. A very deep understanding of each other.
Who's the one that doesn't like give it his all?
Kunami.
Kunami is the same thing for me as Oikawa is. Like, he's just there. He doesn't give it his all, and I think Oikawa doesn't push him because of scenarios like they had in that game. They need him in those scenarios when everyone else is tired.
Yeah, that's showing you how Oikawa is as a captain and as a leader. Like, he knows that he's not going to... Like, Kageyama wanted to change that about Kunami, and Oikawa's like, that's who you are, and I'm going to make you a weapon.
Yeah, so that's like... That shows more of the pack mentality of him. But at the same time, it's like, how are you going to have a character... I can't really say that because it's like... The team works so well because of their pack mentality, but at the same time... Kunami is just a bad player.
Do they work well because of the pack mentality or because of Oikawa?
Oikawa brings the pack mentality.
Because he's the conductor of the orchestra, right?
That's another thing. Is there anyone else on Seijo?
No, you really haven't gotten super into Seijo. Like, they have a couple of more, couple more third years, then you're gonna get introduced to Mad Dog next season. Kendaichi's there. Yahaba's there. They really haven't gone in depth into those characters, so not really a lot to say on them at this point, I don't think. Just get ready to have a lot of characters dumped on you next season.
Oh my god.
I think they play like 6 teams or something like that. It's kind of ridiculous.
Shiro Torizawa. Already one of my favorite characters.
What kind of fusion would Ushijima and Oikawa make?
Probably a very toxic fusion. Oh my god, the most toxic fusion.
What about Kageyama and Hideta? What kind of fusion would that be?
Probably like a Steven and Amethyst fusion.
I'm sure there's someone out there that's written this fanfic.
You haven't seen their fusion yet, but it's probably exactly what that fusion would be.
That's terrifying. I don't want to think about those two fusing. What the hell's wrong with you?
That's me. What the hell's wrong with you? What do you think Kageyama and Tsukishima fusing would be?
Terrifying.
Would they keep the glasses?
The glasses that Tsukishima's brother gives him, yes, they fuse into his body when they fuse. So he just has these like sports goggles.
I can't believe we're talking about this. These are things that you have to talk about when you're watching both of these shows, because it's like there's common ground, but there's not very much.
There really isn't. And I think we're seeing that in the characters, and we're seeing that in the narrative. And we talked about this at the very beginning. Like, one show is super grounded in reality and almost slice of life in its approach to its storytelling, and then you have another one that is a sci-fi fantasy mix that is, I mean, the world building is massive and the pacing is bizarre and the characters are, literally universe wide. So yeah, there's not really a lot. It's interesting that we've gone through a whole season and we still we're kind of sitting here like they're not really the same thing. Like, we could have picked more different things, but it'd be really hard for us to pick things that are more different than these two shows.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so interesting to me that they carry such similar fan bases. There's a lot of people that are fans of both.
That's weird.
Yeah. Thanks, guys, for listening to this episode of Beach City Crows. Once again, my name is Jackie, and I've been watching Steven Universe.
And I'm Isaac, and I have been watching Haikyuu.
And we will return next week as we both start season 2 of these respective shows.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Good night. Hey guys, it's Jackie.
And Isaac.
From Nonessential Media.
We just want to thank you guys so much for listening, and if you'd like, feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel or our Patreon.
And we want to hear from you guys. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you're watching along with us and what your thoughts are.
You can find us on Twitter at NonEssentialM.
We're on Facebook as Nonessential Media.
We're also on Instagram at Nonessential Media.
Check out our website, nonessentialmedia.com.
So check us out.
Thanks again for listening. We truly appreciate every single one of you.
See you guys next Saturday for a new episode of Beach City Crows. Bye. Skibbly babbly bab.